Hi, welcome to Hospitality Live with Rupesh. Each week, we feature an industry leader that will share the latest trends and the best strategies to help you grow. Now, welcome your host, Rupesh Patel.
Hey guys, let me make sure we're live on the internet because I always get it wrong and it never works out for me. So let me just make sure we're live on the internet. And all right, yes, we are live, guys. Welcome to the show. This is episode number 40, and I'm going to read this right out loud. I'm super excited about this conversation. It is commitment to clean and caring. How to relaunch your hotel, which I am excited about because this is a conversation that I've been talking about for quite some time, actually since March. Like, how do we relaunch? Because we talked about how to shut our hotels down. Now we're at the point where, cities and counties and the government and different states are opening up, and I'm excited about that. Guys, comment where you're watching this from. I'm super excited to see where people are coming from. We have a bunch of people on right now. Guys, this show is going to be valuable because I'm giving away a $50 gift card. Plus, we're giving away $2,000 worth of value to a few people. So stay tuned to the end because we are definitely going to be giving away some value, some ideas, some insights, all of those things. And I'm going to share our featured guest in a minute. But this episode, definitely, let's see where people are from. We have Chapel Hill. Good morning. Good morning to Margaret, Lord Daniel, Mario, Kimberly, Christopher. Guys, comment where you're watching from. Jacksonville, Michigan, Coldwater, Michigan. Melissa from Dallas, Daytona Beach. Deborah, welcome. Connecticut. Guys, welcome to the show. Nova Scotia, guys, good morning. I'm super excited about that. South Carolina, Springfield, Texas, France. Welcome to the show. I am super excited to have you on, and we're going to learn a lot today. So hang on real quick because I actually pulled something up that I want to share with you because I think it's pretty valuable as far as a conversation. And let me make sure it's right there. And it is right there. All right, do you see it? Now, I posted this yesterday because as we open up our hotels, this is the mindset and these are the habits that everybody should have, right? And I talk about a mindset or some kind of positivity before we get to the show every week. And this week, I'm talking about the habits that we all can have. And you don't need talent for these. So like number one is being kind. Oh, that's so easy, right? Everybody can be kind. Having a positive attitude. Are you coming to work? Are you waking up happy? Are you coming to work with a smile on your face, right? And I think that's number 5. Going above and beyond is huge. And guys, comment if you believe that these talents you have to have as far as a habit. And actually, there's no talent. You don't have zero talent to have these habits. And I love that you can take these on. So be passionate. Are you passionate about what you're doing, right? Smiling, we talk about that. Being punctual, which means being on time to work. I like to come to places when I'm invited somewhere or I have to be somewhere or at a meeting. I like to be there at least 10, 15 minutes early just so I can make sure I don't get lost or I find my way into the office or I'm just ready and they see that. If you come late, guess what? It breaks down the trust. And I guarantee that you guys have all been there where you're like, oh, I missed it, because I've been there too. But then it also feels great and you feel ready for the meeting when you're early, right? I love that part. Then being honest. This is a huge part about hospitality, like just being honest with yourself and then others, your team, your guests, all of these things. That's part of our mindset. And you don't have talent for these. This is like part of something that you come with when you come to the hotel industry. Showing empathy, like how do people care? What are they feeling? Understanding their what they're thinking and how they're feeling is super important when we talk about empathy. And then work ethics. It's huge for me ever since I was a kid. I've been like this, right? I'm super excited to get to work. If I put my mind to something, I'm gonna get it done, and I love that. And then lastly, honestly, we all have to think of this and as being reliable. Can people trust you when you say you're gonna do this? Are you gonna show up to work, right? And that's a huge part of this mindset of the habits that are required that don't, that don't require talent. These are things that you have to come to this hospitality industry with. So people are saying kindness matters. no talent needed for this list. So that's my mindset for this week, and I'm super excited to talk about this conversation, guys. This episode, let me bring it up. This episode is brought to you by smartguests.com, creative hospitality tools, and make sure, it's creative hospitality tools to improve your operations, marketing, and guest feedback. Go to smartguests.com, which is my company, is sponsoring this month. And we've had a bunch of people order this past week as things open up. Guys, thank you so much for your order. And these are tools that are going to help you with customer service, getting more reviews, connecting and communicating with guests. Check out Smart Guests. It's awesome tools that we've created. I've personally created most of them, and they work at my hotel, and they can work for you too. And secondly, this episode is also sponsored by Rupesh.co, which is my personal website, membership site that we're gonna be launching soon. It's a leadership site, so go to Rupesh.co. Rupesh.co. All right, so I'm super excited about this conversation because this is what we're talking about. Let me get to it. All right, today's episode, we're talking about how to offer exceptional service as we relaunch our hotels. Like, if your hotel is just about to open or just open, hit the comments and let us know when you opened and what's the occupancy like. Over the weekend, it was Memorial Weekend in the United States, and in different parts of Florida, where I'm in Central Florida, and we have hotels in Daytona Beach, and we were sold out. And we've been busy ever since they opened the states back up, which is great sign for all of us, right? So let us know when your city is opening back up, and then what your occupancy looks like, because it's looking strong for Florida, especially the coastal cities that are where people feel comfortable social distancing themselves. And of course, Daytona Beach was in the news this weekend, but I'm not going to get into that. All right, so this episode is featuring Kate Buhler. And guys, I love her name, Kate Buhler. Anybody know where Buhler comes from? Comment, let me know if you know Buhler. It's one of my favorite movies from the 80s. Let me just bring her on, and then we'll kind of explain her background. But Kate Buhler is a consultant, trainer, and a finder of hidden revenue. That's what we need right now. We need to find that hidden revenue, right? Profitable Trade is her company with over 25 years of experience in the luxury hotel space. Kate has managed divisional departments and rooms, food and beverage, sales and marketing, human resources, and she's worked as a director of revenue and designed training initiatives for corporate travel, and she's been all over the place. Listen, before the coronavirus, she was traveling 275 days a year, teaching hoteliers how to improve their hotel, how to get more business. And so let's bring her on right now. Kate Buhler, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, Rupesh.
Hey, I've had cups of coffee. I went to the gym this morning,
Awesome.
and I'm already super excited, and I'm pumped up for this conversation. So I hope you are too.
Sure
Kate,
am.
tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into this, because you've been doing this for quite some time.
Absolutely. Before coronavirus hit, I used to brag. I think that I have one of the greatest jobs in the world. I said it was one of the greatest because I made it up, right? So if you're going to make up a job, Rupesh, make up a good one. And I got to travel around the world, as you mentioned, and I got to meet the hardest working, most passionate, most amazing people in the hospitality industry that I think you could ever find. And so I love to travel. We're in this business because we love to travel. But what I really love about it is all the people I meet. And how I got into it was I worked in hotels. I worked in hotels for a really long time, all different departments, as you said. And I started to connect the dots. So food and beverage needs to understand what rooms does, and rooms needs to understand what accounting's doing. So once you get everybody talking to each other, magic happens. And that's when you can find all of the revenue pockets that maybe you were leaving on the table before. You can pick it up and take it home with you, put it in your pocket. So I train people to look at their job with sort of a bigger picture. And if nothing else, this horrible tragedy has made everybody do that, hasn't it?
It's made us stronger, and it's made us reconsider what we want to do and maybe in life, right? And what do you want to, and what are the connections that you want, and how to think maybe clear, because we've been busy running these last few years, maybe 10 years, and since the last downturn. And this time we really got to sit around and think about a lot of different things, right? And kind of understand ourselves, which is super important. Now,
Yeah, I totally agree.
and so you've reinvented your business basically. Instead of traveling all over the world and really your forte was luxury hotels, right? What are some of the brands that you worked with?
So I've worked with Four Seasons and Peninsula. I have worked with Mandarin Oriental, some Ritz-Carltons, pretty much any of the luxury brands you can think of. One Hotels, which is an exciting up-and-comer. All of the luxury market has been my niche so far. But you're right, you have to change and be flexible. I think that if you have a loved one who was sick with COVID-19, then this is a very different experience for you. But for people who so far have been healthy, which so far have been healthy, I will say it is an opportunity to reinvest and reinvigorate what you do. And so, yeah, my business is completely different than it was. I'm now going to be doing remote training and coaching for individuals and all the things that I said I would do, but never had the time. So I'm using this time. I think it would be a real shame for all of us
Right. And I think
after
a lot
having
of
to
us
be out.
had.
Yeah, after having to be out of the market, you absolutely need to bring
Yeah,
something back in, right?
right. And now we're talking about how to offer exceptional service and how to regain the guest and our staff back. And let's go to, I guess, directly to the staff, because that's who we're bringing back first, right? Those are the people that are coming back to our hotels. And as we open up and we're bringing them on slowly because the occupancy is growing, hopefully at your hotel and in your
Yeah.
market, what are some things that we could do as far as engaging with our staff?
Sure. So, your staff is really truly your greatest asset, and the message that they're going to be communicating on your behalf. You can't be everywhere, right? If you own a hotel, if you're a general manager, you're spread pretty thin. So your staff needs to know what message to deliver, and they have to want to be there. So a lot of hotels I know of are asking their staff, "Are you comfortable coming back? If you're comfortable coming back, what will make you feel comfortable?" We don't ask them enough. What will make you feel like this is a worthy endeavor? And if you get your staff's buy-in, the other thing I would say is tell them it's your feedback. You're my eyes and ears. So if you tell your staff that everything that you're seeing, I want to hear about. If you see a great idea at another hotel or restaurant, tell me about it. And we'll try to do it here. And if you're really honest with them and say, we're all learning as we go, then they won't be so upset if you change your mind, right? I'm seeing some false starts here and there with hotels. I'm seeing some hotels open and maybe they told everybody how it was going to be, and then when they needed to shift, all the employees are saying, "Oh, that's not fair. That's not what they said." So set yourself up as managers well by saying, "We're all in this together. What's true today might not be true tomorrow. We need you to be with us and partner with us on this."
Right, it's flexibility, and the communication is going to be super important. So with communicating to your staff, what do you recommend as far as, all right, we're just about to be open next week, or we've opened and we're slowly bringing people on. Are we emailing them? Are we texting them? What are we doing to making them feel comfortable? And then what's the message on that kind of to
Yeah,
make people feel comfortable? Are you kind of like you're marketing on your social media? We talked about marketing in the last 2 weeks now of how to market yourself on social or on the internet to gain business. But what do we do as far as marketing to our internal customers, which is our staff and our associates? How do we
right.
make what are the words that we could use to make them feel comfortable?
Sure. The method which you use to communicate to your staff probably would depend, Rupesh, on how big your staff is. So if you probably have hundreds of employees, so you're communicating via email. Maybe you're uh, doing a podcast, or maybe you're doing a recording. We've seen some of the great CEOs in the hospitality field do recordings, and they went viral. They were originally going out to employees, and employees showed them off and said, "Look what my boss does." So that's one way to communicate. But the best way, of course, is on the telephone. Talk to people. If you have a small department, let your department head managers call all their people and actively ask them what they're seeing and what they think, and actively let them see you taking notes so that they know you're taking them seriously. And I don't mean that as like pretend you're taking notes. Really take notes, because they're living out here, right? And I think if you make a good faith effort on that part, they'll be much more forgiving for the difficult times that are ahead. I mean, we know it's going to be tough out there. But the employee buy-in, start sending the messages now. If you're thinking you're going to be open in a couple of weeks, it's a daily message. And once you've done that, I think you'll be in really good shape to have the team come back and feel welcomed.
Right, right.
They're going to feel more welcome, right?
Absolutely. I definitely agree. But that communication, making them feel really comfortable. And then when they come on board, are we doing a retraining of kind of your, of course, we're going to be doing training of all the new stuff, that new guidelines and the new cleanliness features that you're going to be having, that you're going to put into place. But what else are we training for?
Sure. So I am queen of the workshops, so that's what I do. So I'm very high on training, and I love actually when you get a lot of people in a room, even if they're socially distanced, that's when the magic happens. So the first thing that I'm saying there's 3 words that we need to think of when it comes to a relaunch. And my hope is that it's—
I'm writing these down. Hang on. I'm going to write these down.
Go for it. I'm hoping that it's really going to be a relaunch, a reopening, and make it something joyous, because we've just been through a lot. So the first word is identify. So imagine if you got your employees together in a room and you identified with them on a flip chart all of the things that they're concerned about, and things you're concerned about too, right? This is how you also get to share your opinion, is you ask them first. But if you say, how do you show smile and kindness when you have a mask on? If you're wearing rubber gloves, how do you still feel comfortable with your guest? If you are taking your guest's temperature, what's the verbiage you should use before you just come at them with a thermometer, right? Because, I mean, face it, that's weird, right? That's a weird scenario. We're going to have to do a few weird things now. So the first thing, anyway, is identify. Identify the touch points. Identify where guests are touching things and how are those things going to get cleaned. Then identify what I call pain points. And the pain points in a hotel are things like, where's everyone going to wait while they're waiting for their table? Or where is everybody? How are they going to line up when they're coming to check in? What does the staging look like outside at the front door? So if you start to identify your touch points and your pain points, troubleshoot it. And then the next word is going to be simplify. You're not going to be able to offer all the same things. And I'm especially now talking to my luxury hotels and full service hotels out there. This is one of many tragedies we've been through in the last couple decades, where really the luxury hoteliers have the toughest time coming back. Do you know why?
Why is that?
There's so many moving parts, right? They have a lot of staff doing a lot of little touches. We call it touches, that now they're going to have to think twice about doing. But the simpler your business model, the better. And you can always add on as you get comfortable. So for now, simplify your menu, simplify your room type, simplify everything you're offering. And then the last one really is be able to modify. So we've identified the problems, we've simplified to make it as easy as possible. And then we need to modify as we go. So as restrictions loosen up, you can start adding things on. Let your employees know that's going to happen. Things are going to change. So as long as they're aware of that, I think actually you're a partnership, which is what you should be anyway, right, with your employees.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting their feedback is super important as far as how they're feeling comfortable. So, we talked about identify, simplify, modify. I've seen this happen in the last 3 months. Like simple example is Chick-fil-A. They reduced, like, their driveway was open. They changed the way because nobody could come in the restaurant. They changed their entire way of running their lines, and they were making it more efficient with 2 lines and 3 lines. And taking these spaces for parking and making them into numbers. And so really simplifying the process and making it efficient, which I love. So maybe we think about those things where we're trying to talk about the during or before, during, and after the stay.
Sure.
And how can we think of those things kind of like Chick-fil-A? Like, you pull up and you can either order from your app, or you can there's somebody standing outside and kind of taking your order, and then it goes into one line. But they were super efficient. So how can we do those things as far as simplifying? And then their menu was simplified too. It wasn't like the 20 things that are on the usual menu, but it was like 5 things that are staples, that are the best sellers, and those are the things that people want. They didn't say, oh, let me offer this one spicy salad that most people don't order. They picked the most popular things that are in demand, and that's what makes sense when you're talking about simplify. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's a smart move. And, from problems, from difficult times is usually when we learn our efficiencies, right? So hotels are going to run leaner, but they're also going to run more efficient. And I think that is something to embrace a little bit. And actually, we're seeing right now, we're at the tail end of the really tough part, where we're seeing a lot of loss. But there's going to be a lot of gain too, because whenever there is a crisis, financial crisis, or a war, or anything that changes, a natural disaster, anything that changes our market, we always come back stronger, having learned the lessons. And there's a lot of things that we were doing in the past that maybe we don't need. So this is something that I've been seeing anyway. In my travels for the last 10 years, I've been seeing a need to simplify. Employees are needed to make a personal touch to a guest, but the guests don't want to be bothered all the time. The modern guest really wants to be left alone. They want a personal touch, but not maybe in the traditional sense. They want to hear an interesting story. They want you to stop. And this, we were talking about teaching people how to treat everyone like a VIP. It's free, Rupesh. This is free. You look every single one of those guests in the eye, and you smile with your eyes, especially if your face is covered, and you say, we are so happy to be back at work, and we are so happy you chose our hotel. Thank you. I don't care if you're the most junior construction worker on a crew, or if you're a bank president, that makes you feel good. People come back to a hotel or any business because of human connection. And I call it the mental hug, right? I mean, even before, I called it the mental hug, even before Corona, right? I'm not physically hugging you. I don't know you that well. That would be weird. But I'm going to hug you with my voice. I'm going to hug you with what I say. I'm going to say, welcome. We're so glad you're here. And we don't do that enough, do we?
And we're talking about the guest and our associates, because I think you have to smile to the associates. You can't be fake to them. I think you need to be real to everybody, right? The entire team, including vendors, which is important too. So if your face is covered, and I don't have a mask right in front of me, but if your face is covered and they can't see your smile, and those are the things. What else can you say when your face is covered and they don't know? And if can you point to them? Is there gestures with your finger?
Yes. There's parts of the world where people's faces are covered anyway, and they're quite used to this, right? And there are open hand gestures. There are, I am a touch my heart person. I teach this at a class. I do this, not even on purpose now. My hand just zooms up to my heart. But whenever I say my name, I automatically say, welcome to the hotel. My name is Kate. I'm going to be helping you today. I can't help it. I just do it now. And it's probably a psychological thing, in that I want to open my heart to you. Did you see, I think you told me you did see the Hilton video, what they're doing now?
Yeah.
It's the Clean Stay program. It's called the Clean Stay program. And the video that they're using to illustrate what they're doing now to keep guests safe happened to have been filmed, I want to say, in India. And they're doing actually the Indian hands, right? The prayer hands, which we can't do if it's not culturally right. But it's kind of lovely, right? Because their body still says welcome. we need to, in the West, if that's not culturally what you do, we need to make sure we face our guests full on, not off to the side. We can't be doing something else while we're talking to them. And if we say to a guest, that's a really interesting point, that's great feedback, I'm going to write that down, then we look down to write down. We don't write it down while we're talking to them, because you'll notice as soon as I break eye contact, it's no longer caring, right?
I see that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could definitely use that. All right, so I
Yeah,
like that part. I like the whole taking a note after listening to them, because that's a big part of the habits of success for hospitality, just listening. And
yeah.
I've had trouble. My wife tells me I'm a horrible listener, even now. But I'm working on it. I'm trying to listen, and I have to focus when I'm listening. So how do people how can people sharpen up on their listening skills when we're have like 50 arrivals on our list just for us, and we might have a couple hundred rooms, and it might be just turn into a busy situation all of a sudden because the airline got canceled or something happened, and then all of a sudden you have all these people walking in. How do you focus on listening when your mind's all over the place?
Absolutely. So first of all, it's a learned skill, Rupesh. Don't tell your wife, but it's a learned skill. So when it comes to listening, um, I challenge people that even when they're not listening, to look like they're listening. Sometimes you have a million things going on in the back of your brain, but the guest needs to see that you're paying attention to them. When it comes to your guests giving you feedback and critique, that's really important. That's when you do need to listen. So here's a couple of tips for that. One is, if it's crazy, right? Everything broke loose and you've got 10 people at the desk because an airline canceled and they're not in a good mood and somebody wants to talk. My way of handling that is to, again, look them dead in the eye and say, what you are saying is so interesting, and I want to give you my full attention. I have a lot of people I need to check in right now, but can I take your name and number so I can go in the back office and call you right back, just a few minutes, so I can give you my full attention? It's a much nicer way of saying, go away right now, I'm busy, right? That's just much
Yeah,
more lovely.
yeah.
Um, the person who just wants to talk to you when you have a lot of work to do, I always say to them, tell that guest. And some guests, as you know, are lonely, right? Some guests just want to tell you their experience. Guests like me who spend more time on the road than at home. So you look at that guest, and again, it's not rude if you say, you are so interesting. I could talk to you all day. Thank you for telling me that information. I have to go cover someone else on a shift right now, but please stop by again. Please promise me you'll come tell me another story. Would you? It just works better that way.
Yeah.
And it sounds conniving and evil, but it makes the guest feel good and it lets you get back to work. So it works, right?
Yeah, I actually heard somebody say a while back, and this is a tip I kind of remember, is I try to get their permission. So permission based anything is also always a
Mhm.
great insight. And here's how, Mr. Smith, I loved your story. It's awesome to see that you have this passion for boating. And is it okay if I can connect with you a little bit later after my
Right.
busy period here? And then
Yes.
that's a yes or no question, and
Yeah.
they're going to say yes for the most part, right? They're not going to be like, no, I want to talk to you right now, and that gets them to approve to come on your side when you're talking about taking the conversation to another time or another day, right?
Sure.
And
Sure.
that's always been helpful for me, and I use that for my marketing. I use that for my emails. Is it okay? And get their permission to buy into kind of what I kind of want them to do. So that great
Absolutely.
tip.
Yeah, and I think too, for if you want to inspire your employees to try these tips, I found, you can tell your employees what to do, but I don't find that to be very effective. As soon as you turn your back, employees are going to do what they want. But if you tell them, listen, this is a challenge. I challenge you to try this and see if it works. Then they try it. And it's amazing how many people write to me and say, oh my God, that worked. It's so funny that worked. And it made it fun for them, because a lot of a job is not fun, right? A lot of it is mundane and boring and repetitive. So if you can find a way to make their job more interesting, say, this is a human experiment, try it and see what happens. People will be interested in trying it.
All right, so what's the exact words when I'm trying to get them to do certain thing or this new initiative? You call it a challenge?
Yes, I say, let's all talk about this idea I have. And then I get their feedback. And I say, okay, so are we in agreement this is a good idea? And some people say, it's not such a great idea. Say, well, do you have a better idea? No, okay. Or they might have a little change to it and you be flexible. But once you present the idea, say, can we do this together? And here's the trick to a challenge, it needs to have a result. So that's when you tell them, um, let's try giving the guests face masks when they arrive and telling them where they need to wear it and where they don't need to wear it, and see how many face masks we can actually get guests to wear. But, say it in a friendly way. Let's try this verbiage and see how it works. And at the end of the day, let's see how it worked. And if we need to change it again, we will. So your partnership with your employees is key, because if you can get your employees to be in on it with you, it will work. I have a lot of employees writing to me right now, and they say, Mrs. Kate, can you please talk to my boss? They want to do this, and I don't think it's right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the mediator. I always say to them, well, why don't you tell the boss why you think it's not right? But the fact that people feel like they can't come to their boss and tell them, that they would write to someone across several oceans to tell them, tells you they're not necessarily communicating. And that's where it all breaks down, right? So it's going to be,
Yeah, communication is always key.
we have to treasure our guests and we have to treasure our employees. And I've said this always, but now it's more true than ever. Rupesh, you said you're going to have to train all your employees on new cleanliness, right? On new standards of cleanliness. Every hotel is clean, at least every hotel I go to. The goal is to be clean, right? This is the hope. But now you need to not only be clean, you're talking about germs and virus clean. You also need to show the guests you are clean. So that commitment to clean that they're talking about, that I think is so valuable, because you used to clean behind the scenes, the guest never saw it, and now the guest is going to have to peel back the curtain and see.
Yeah,
So
even
that's going to make employees very valuable to you, because you're going to have to invest a lot of money in teaching them how to do that.
Yeah, and then showing part of the guest side. So now we talked about the associate side. Now we're talking, let's switch over to the guest side. And with the guest side, they want to see, we're talking about clean and caring, right? So we talked about the caring side, we'll continue more of that. But on the guest side, we're talking about clean. And like a simple thing that we just started was, or we've started now for a while now, we got 2 mason jars. It says clean pens and sanitized pens, and then used pens, and we put them on the counter so they can drop it into the thing, so they see that, oh, I don't want to use this dirty pen if I have to use a pen to sign something or whatever, right? I think most of it's digital, but if there was, that's an opportunity, right?
Right.
What else can you recommend as far as the guest side of things, showing them that they're clean, that we're
Absolutely. Absolutely. So first of all, that's a brilliant idea. That's such a good idea. And frankly, I mean, don't you think if you probably swabbed old pens the other way, those weren't so clean either. So like, again, that's a new practice, but probably was a good practice all along. I think other ways you're going to show it's clean. Well, going back to Hilton, not every hotel can afford to do this, but they're leaving rooms vacant for 72 hours. They are not doing turn down service, and they are doing only every other day. They're cleaning rooms every other day.
Right.
They're limiting their exposure. I think that's going to be very expensive and not necessarily so easy to replicate. But you've stayed in hotels that have the sanitation. This toilet was cleaned, that have the band across. You have been to places that have subtle ways of showing that something has been sanitized. Maybe it is even a banner on the door saying this has been sanitized. The next person who opens that door is a guest. So this room has been vacant, clean, sanitized, and inspected. The next person who is going to enter this room is going to be the guest. And that will give the guest that much more peace of mind. So when it comes to the guest feeling comfortable, it's really interesting, because I travel globally, or at least I did, but because I travel globally, every country has different rules, and every country is taking this at a different pace. So that would be fine, but you have people coming to the US from all over the world, and they're going to come with their beliefs and their fears and their rules with them. Just like you remember in the airline, shortly after somebody tried to blow up an airplane with a shoe, right? Remember the shoe bomber?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. He was in prison near here, actually, in Boston. So the shoe bomber did that. And now everywhere in America, you take off your shoes, right? Unless you're a trusted traveler. But in Europe, you don't have to take off your shoes. So they think we're weird, right? They're like, so one guy did that, now everyone has to take off their shoes. So rules that are happening are individual state, sometimes individual city. It's confusing for the guest.
Right.
Maybe you want to have a printed list somewhere in the guest room. You can do it in a wipe down plasticized list that just says these are the rules by state law in the state of Florida, what we're doing to keep you safe.
Yeah, yeah.
And they
Or
can
even a
read it if
landing
they
page.
want. Yeah, they can read it if they want. They can skip it if they don't care. But either way, the guest gets to have the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, I
Right?
love that. I love that as far as just like a little card that has a QR code or something that you just take a picture of and then goes to your own
Oh, that's nice.
page that
Yeah.
says our local guidance for hotel stays, right? And I think that kind of makes people feel, oh, I could do this on the beach, but I can't do that. I could do
Right.
this while I'm traveling within this city that I could not do in my city. So that kind of
Sure.
makes people feel comfortable, and it gets them it lets them be informed of what's going on in the market, because unless they already did the research, but things change every day now.
Exactly. I couldn't even
Right.
begin to do all the research you'd need to do if you're a real road warrior, right? And you're in a different city every night. So that might be helpful. That's a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so we're talking about the guest side of things. Now
Sure.
they're staying with you. What other hospitality kind of habits do you recommend, especially from coming from the luxury side? Because I love that, luxury, it might be it might take longer to recover. I think we
Mhm.
talked about this earlier. Like, what are some segments that are going to recover quickly? And it's the select service, limited service, the extended stays. You notice that they're busier than the full service or luxury
Yeah.
brands.
Yeah.
But how can you take some of those mindsets, those ideas, and bring them into any hotel? And
Right.
because I think we talked about this earlier a couple of days ago, and I'm like, oh, I love these different things. Share like at least five.
Sure. So first of all, when it comes to coming back online, you're going to want to add your services. Things like room service. Room service had died down and gotten a little less popular over the last couple of decades. But from what I'm talking about and the people that I'm talking to, I think room service is going to have a resurgence. I think that guests are going to feel comfortable having food delivered to their room, wrapped, covered, and you bring it into your room to enjoy. Um, you know, I don't know about you, but I've got kids. I've been cooking, and my husband's been cooking for the last 3 months. I would love some room service right now.
Let's
And
take a real quick vote. And guys, by the way, we're giving away a $50 gift card to smartguests.com, and Kate is giving away 5 free 1-hour sessions. So guys, the people that are the most engaged on this, so comment and post in the comments of with different questions and be engaging, will win an hour session. We're giving 5 of those away. So guys, before the end of the show, please do that. But let us know, comment and let us know, would you consider room service if you're on vacation, or could that be something that someone just wrote, Christopher wrote, Marriott Quick Bites already does this. I think there's a lot of, do you like room service basically? Would you
right,
go to room service instead of going to the hotel restaurant? And we're in the hotel business. So, I think I would feel a little bit more comfortable instead of going out in the morning, because I don't think the buffets are coming back anytime soon. Especially breakfast buffets, which are my favorite.
I know,
If I stay at a nice hotel, oh, I have to have
I
their
know,
I have
brunch.
to take in their brunch or their buffet, right?
Hmm.
I feel like I feel like room service is going to have a resurgence where you order and it comes straight to your room and you're not worried about anything else and all those surroundings, or maybe it's an outdoor cafe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think it definitely, people are saying yes, room service would be considered. I think it's a good point.
A couple of really smart industry leaders that I've been talking to have said they're thinking of turning room service into more of an event. So again, for this particular section, I'm talking the luxury market, but imagine if you go out for a walk with your wife, it's your anniversary, you come back and room service is already preset in your room. And it was pre-ordered, preset, there might be flowers there. They have already done all the work for you, so you just magically have your dinner appear in your hotel room. I think that things like that are creative and fun. And again, if we're going to take things away, we need to add too. Quick bites for Marriott is a great idea. It's a great thing to have. But sometimes you want a special occasion. By the way, even non-luxury guests could want something like this, right? I don't know if you know about this so much, or if your listeners know so much, but in the luxury market, ask any luxury hotelier, they'll tell you the same thing. The guest that's struggling to stay there, right? The guests that save their money, that really don't have a high salary, that are going to a hotel once in their life, they're everybody's favorite guest. Everybody loves that guest. Everybody fawns all over that guest. And we're going to have to take that mentality to all of our guests now, because we need to welcome them back. And competition is fierce because people are not traveling as often. For a while, we're going to have to really do a lot to attract our guests. And it cannot all be about spending more money, can it? Because you can throw money at the guests, but at the end of the day, you haven't made any profit. So if there are free things you can do to get your guests to want to come back, it's that connection. How do you connect with that guest? How do you personalize service to that guest? One other big one, you were talking about 5. I'll give you another one, is you want to use that guest's name. So name recognition is something that is a bigger deal in some brands than in other brands. But you want to recognize that guest, and you want to say, thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for coming back. We were wondering if you'd be coming back. We're so glad you're here. You use that guest's name, and that guest will stay. That's the most pleasant sound to anyone's ear, is their own name.
Great, and I'm going to post this up real quick. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is it breaking up?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Guys, can you hear me? I don't know if this is going live right now or not, but I see a bunch of people are saying yes, room service is going to be a must. And things that might go away is the in-room coffee maker, which I've always said for years. I'm not a big fan of the in-room coffee maker, just with the sanitization and some of those things. So I rather look forward to a nice cup of coffee, fresh cup from the lobby, or somebody that's going to make it for me, or just in a pot. I'm okay with somebody serving it to me. So it doesn't have to be like a fresh brewed latte or something, but just something that's already fresh instead of me making it and then worrying about, was this actually clean, or was it clean with like a toilet brush bowl or something?
Right.
I don't know.
They did a study once on the mugs in room, and that was really that was pitiful. So I don't mind the in-room coffee maker, but I like the to-go coffee cups. That somehow makes me feel a little bit better about it. And of course, if you go to a really beautiful place, the coffee cups ought to be clean, right? If you're spending $1,000 a night, coffee cups should be clean. But now it's a clean we can't see. It's did somebody sneeze? Did somebody cough? Right. So yeah, that's a big consideration, as are mini bars. Right, mini bars are a huge consideration now, and they really have been on the out for a while. But people were being offered, let us do some grocery shopping for you. We'll bring some of your supplies, your staples into your room for a fee, and we will clean all the packaging too for you.
Right. I think Residence Inn, I think Homewood Suites does that, where they go out and shop for you if you're staying an extended period. Guys, let us know what other brands, or I don't don't know if that's a brand standard right now, or if they're making that a thing right now with COVID, or maybe they're pausing it. But I definitely think some of those little things. I think.
Yeah. How about pools, Rupesh? You've got pools at your properties, yeah?
But yeah, we have a few properties that have a pool, and I think it's
Uh-huh.
going to be valuable when you have a limit on that pool, because over the weekend there was a lot of hotels in Daytona and different markets in Florida that were open, and
Yeah.
the pools were packed. People took videos and showed it on social media,
Yeah.
and it was kind of embarrassing for that hotel that
Mm,
had the entire pool, and it looked like nothing ever, like it looked like there was no problem in the world. It looked like people were just partying from back last year, right? And I
right.
think that there's going to be some rules put into place as far as signing up, and I think hotels are saying, hey, come sign up for when you want to spend time in the pool, which is I don't like that, but hey, there's some things that we have to do. So
Sure.
some
Well,
of
so
those
the
things.
the luxury market has been doing more and more cabana rentals.
Mm,
And so, first of all, cabana rentals, it depends on your price point, right, as to what you're doing, or if you are renting your pool chairs. If you're renting your pool chairs for a certain time, that is their reserved time to have the chairs. It's kind of a positive spin on. We don't want too many of you here. Um, but what I like about cabanas is you can have large families that have quarantined together that can be close, right? Are still able to be close near the
mhm.
pool. But if you're going to rent, so all of these things come with the caveat that if you're going to rent time by a pool, then you have to provide them with beautiful service. You've got to have some food. You've got to have something to make their time have value. And that's really what we're talking about, isn't it? We're talking about, do you provide value for money? So if you are asking somebody to spend money or reserve a space and a time by the pool where you're turning others away, then you also want to be able to provide them either at cost or an additional charge for snacks and things to keep them happy out there while they're there. What
Yeah,
you
now,
don't need is a little memory, right?
right. What about limited service or select service properties that don't have the F&B side component on their hotel, and they want to keep the social distancing? What are you seeing on your side? I've said that, I've seen a lot of hotels say, hey, we're going to limit the amount of people, so come reserve a spot. For limited service or select service or mid-scale, we
Yeah,
can't say come rent a chair, right? That they're already on a budget, so I
right,
don't think that's fair to them. But I think there is
right.
space where you can reserve
I
a
was going to
spot.
say, yeah, so price point wise, if you don't want to charge money for it, you can reserve the chair and you say, we're reserving it for you for that time. We will sanitize it prior to your arrival,
Right.
give it a rest period between other guests, and that peace of mind is why we have to reserve it.
Yeah, and I
And
think same thing for gyms too.
yeah, yeah,
Gym would be
gyms
the same
are,
thing.
that's really, really tough, isn't it? Because I think of mid-scale or when you have an economy hotel, if you provide a fitness center, are you hiring somebody to clean that fitness center after every use? So you have to provide for them. You need to provide uh, enough sanitizing equipment that they can wipe down the machine and tell them to wipe it down before and after they use it.
Yeah.
All of this, Rupesh, wouldn't matter if the virus had a vaccine and was gone, right? But now we have to worry about it coming back because the last thing we want to do is have to go through all of this again.
Yeah, I'm not ready
That's
to do it
what we
again.
have to remember, right? We have to remember that this is not. Some people, are very afraid of getting ill. They have pre-existing conditions, or they don't want to infect a loved one. But the economy we're battered enough. It's going to be way worse if there's another insurgence and we all have to close again.
Right,
So
right.
that communication needs to come out loud and clear to your employees and to your guests, right? This is to prevent future problems, future outbreaks.
Right. I'm reading all the notes that, gyms should follow CDC guidelines. Thank you, Jerry. Guys, comment. Let us know what your take is on the pool side of things for your hotel, no matter what kind of hotel you are or level of service. and let us know about your gym too, because I think that's very important to understand how people are feeling about the gym. I know a lot of hotels, their gyms are closed right now. Like
Yeah.
they might have low occupancy, or if they're even busier, they aren't seeing the gyms open. So I'd like to get a little take on, are gyms open at your hotel, if your hotel is open. And I think for us this week or last week, we had the gyms open in Florida, so public gyms were open, and I've been going. And what they're doing at the gym is they cut it in half. So I go to Orange Theory, and they, instead of 26 or 27 people in the gym, they only have 13, which is
Yeah.
every other treadmill, every other row station, and every other station on the floor. And you're not allowed to use the same wipe twice. So they give you more wipes as you're getting off of an equipment or a piece of equipment. And they're keeping their distance away too. And once you're done with it, they're not saying put it back on the rack. They're saying leave it on the floor and we'll sanitize it before the next class. So I think something similar for gyms, where if you want to reserve a gym spot for your family, they can work out together, your husband, wife, or the whole family, come reserve it for 45 minutes or 30 minutes if we're going to do 30 minutes, if it's bigger, or a percentage of the gym if it's a bigger gym, and come reserve it, and then we'll have somebody come in, spend 30 minutes just spraying things down, cleaning it up, using the fogger if you have one, using all the other equipment that they've been that all these different brands have kind of suggested, and do those. So I'm not sure if that's an idea, but let me read the comments. And Kate, what do you think?
I think
Should
it's a
gyms
great
open
idea.
up right now, or what are you seeing from your?
Yeah,
What are you seeing from your side?
like the comment you got that you have to follow the CDC guidelines, that is true. But a lot of things I have found have been left to your discretion, or left to the discretion of each city that you're in. So, following guidelines can be a little bit tricky, because the CDC is here to keep everyone safe, but they haven't had to address when are massages allowed, right, for a luxury spa. But I think that if you can open your gym safely, open it, because what's going to happen is more and more hotels are going to find it's not cost efficient. I'm going to close it. So they close their gym, they'll close their cafe, they'll close their mini bar, they'll close the room service. And before you know it, you cannot charge the rates you were charging, and you're not providing the experience or the value that you had. So if you can bring your gyms back safely, your pools back safely, do. There's nothing sadder, I think, than seeing a beautiful pool or a state-of-the-art gym and just being able to look at it through the window and know that it's not there anymore. If you have these features, find a way to get them open safely. It's going to be key.
All right. So communication with your guest. How do you tell guests this is not open? What are some ways? Give us the 3 ways, Kate, of like how to actually say it. Like, oh yeah, it's still closed.
So if you have to have your pool closed right now, first thing you say is, I would spin it to a positive of, at this time, first of all, if it's against the law right now to have your pool open, you can say that, right? So blame the government. If you have to say, we would love to open our pool. We are so looking forward to when we have our pool open again, but it needs to be closed for safety's sake for the next 2 months, by order of the government or by order of our company. We don't want the liability, and we can't promise it would stay safe. So that's why we're closing it. But when it is open again, we are so excited. We're looking forward to it. The other thing is, aren't a lot of people right now doing a lot of improvements to their properties while they're closed?
Yeah.
I know of a lot of hoteliers that are doing some renovations and things while they're closed. And I think that gives them a happy story, right?
Deep cleaning. I see a lot of deep cleaning.
Yeah, we're doing a full deep cleaning and draining of the pool. And we are also painting and making it perfect for when we're able to open up again. So it has to be a positive. It can't be a negative, right? And it's hard. That's something, I call that your service mask, right? Put it on, players, put it on. You have to put on this smile, because you are saying no to a lot of guests that you normally wouldn't want to say no to.
Yeah, absolutely. And this could be for any time. It's not just during this COVID downturn. But I think it's also like when your pool is under renovation or your gym's going through a refurb, there are words that you can say to kind of make them feel better. And I think always giving them an option or two
Yeah.
always makes sense. So in this case, it's going to be, excuse me, in this case, it's going to be kind of tough because it is, most things are
Right.
closed. But
Right.
I think giving a few other options like, hey, you could partner up with a local gym that has social distancing, and they might allow a percentage of people to come in or have a guest pass or something like that, where
Sure.
they have an allotted time when they're not busy and you're allowed to go in there. That's just an idea, but
Yeah.
it seems,
On a previous previous session, I heard one of your guests talking about, it was a brilliant idea. I think it was Tammy. She said, if you're not serving breakfast in the morning, if you don't have a breakfast buffet, partner with a cafe or with a diner nearby and organize a way for them to get food. So in normal times, if I work in a luxury hotel and the pool is closed for renovation, it's up to us to do our homework and find out who does have a pool that's open, who does have a gym that's open that we could refer them to if it's possible, having done all the legwork before. So that's a much easier message to deliver. If it's at all possible, you say, for safety's sake, our company has chosen to keep the pool closed for the next couple of months until we're sure it's safe. But there is a local area pool that you can use. I'll give you the information.
yeah,
That's a much
yeah.
nicer message, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just thinking right now, trying to think of like 100 things, but I was thinking, what if you had a local restaurant that was your favorite, Kate? And
Mhm.
if you were the GM at this hotel, at your hotel, and you partner up with them saying, hey, can we offer a special menu or a special dish that's only exclusive for our hotel? And we brand it as a co-branding thing where maybe you have a mascot or something for your hotel or something that you name it that, and then
Sure.
and you can say, Mr. Smith, go try and then our exclusive dish with this restaurant, and that way you've created like a long-term bond with them, and
Yep.
I think it's goodwill for everybody. I think people guests love it because like they get something exclusive, which
Sure.
no other like regular restaurant patron gets, and there's that connection between them sending you business, you send the business, and I think it all works out. So just my idea that I
Absolutely.
just thought about.
Yeah, it's a good idea, and it's a good idea to look at partnering with restaurants that do takeout already, right? So, everyone's doing what they can to survive, and a lot of restaurateurs are starting to do to go, and even high-end restaurants they're doing to go. But the problem is, make sure you're not putting $50 worth of packaging on a $5 hamburger. So they want to make it look beautiful. They want to keep it with brand, but you've got to look at your costs. And that's where I get kind of tough with people. I say, look at, is it profitable? It's really easy, Rupesh, isn't it, to get kind of desperate and think, okay, I'll do this for now so we can limp along. But
Yes.
you don't want to drive yourself into more debt while you're limping along. So, pizza places, Chinese restaurants, diners, these guys know how to package food. And interestingly enough, the faster service, the more they're doing, the cleaner the restaurant tends to be. So these are great ones to partner with. The other thing is, I heard this from a chef at a webinar I was watching recently. You can call Uber Eats, you can call all of these services, but they're quite expensive, aren't they? And the guest is paying a pretty hefty surcharge. If you have employees looking for work, maybe you can find a way for them to do the delivering. And this won't work for every situation. It won't work for every company. But if you have an availability for a job for somebody to be running food or be running laundry or doing anything else, that's a job for somebody that you could pay them a fair living good wage and not be paying a huge surcharge. Because I ordered an Uber Eats Five Guys hamburgers for my son. He wanted one to celebrate a special occasion, and it was $100 for four of us. And I had a veggie burger. Like, this really was a ripoff. But it wasn't Five Guys. It was all the add-ons, right, for the delivery.
It's the fees. It's the fees. It's the fees. It's grats. It's a delivery
Yeah,
fee. It's all
yeah,
these different things but I feel like a lot of people are using those just because they don't want to spend time in a restaurant or the restaurant's closed. So, is there
right,
something that we can do as far as you were saying, make room service fun? How can we
right.
do that with Uber Eats or something like that, where if they order from Uber Eats and they let it? I'm just trying to think out loud right now. I don't know, but I think it'd be pretty
Absolutely.
cool where you're
You
already
know,
using.
how about you'd have to determine whether or not you could get them cleaned up and turned around fast enough. But you're in Florida. Uh, if it's not too hot and humid, you arrange for them to picnic somewhere on the grounds. You accept the Uber Eats; it's all getting billed to the guest room anyway, and you set it up for them somewhere outside or somewhere in a good area for them to have a meal. So they're outside of their guest room, right? Somebody who says, I'm sick of being in a guest room or a long-term stay, provide them a different atmosphere.
Right.
And absolutely, because a lot of hotels, maybe not yours right now, but a lot of hotels are at 50 and 30%. Use this time to be flexible about where people are allowed to go, right? So a lot of fine dining experiences allow you to have dinner for two out on the beach. I think that's a beautiful experience. And by the way, how much does that actually cost? Nothing. Costs
Yeah.
nothing, right? So, I mean, I can tell you right now from my experience, people will pay a pretty penny to have dinner on the beach.
Or I was thinking, what if you're not on the beach, like most probably people that are listening, their hotels is not on the beach. What if
Mhm.
you got all the equipment and it was foldable and all that stuff, and you had it ready for them, and you sanitized everything, it was bagged up or boxed up or whatever. You just
Right.
gave it to them to borrow, and
Yep.
they could go have a picnic on the beach or a blanket or whatever. And they don't have to go buy anything; it's already ready. And that could be a package where you could kind of bundle up something, or it could be
Of
free,
course.
a value add.
Yeah, or there are disposable paper blankets. Like, they're nice, right? With like a wax backing where you could give that to the guest and they just throw it away afterwards. You can do a disposable picnic basket, cost it out pretty easily, get takeout, give it to them, and they can go wherever they want. Or if you're not using your pool and you're not doing renovations, now's a great time to turn a corner of that pool into a grotto and make it beautiful with a table for two or four and allow people to go there. They can reserve the space. So there are tons of ways. If you have a grill out back for a limited service hotel and you say you'll do the shopping for your family to have a cookout, why not? Again, I wouldn't be afraid to charge the guest for that at a modicum of uptick. I wouldn't make it incredibly prohibitive and expensive, but that's something that's easy to price out. And that actually is a great memory. You know, we talk about hotels. You stay in a hotel. Hotels are ephemeral. You check out, and all you have left is what?
Memories.
And
A
bill.
bill.
I always say you check out of a hotel and you leave with two things, a memory and a bill. And how good you are, how good an experience it is if the guest checks out and says, it was expensive, but it was worth it.
Oh, I've been there before. Yes, I've seen that. I've had that experience
Yeah.
before, and I've
This is
really
what we
appreciated
sell.
that experience.
If you want to race to the bottom and be the cheapest game in town, you can do that. And then people will check out and say, well, it was cheap, right? But that is not necessarily sustainable in this market. So I would say any value add that you can offer, even if the guest pays for it, it gives them an experience. And I was thinking about my kids. My kids are 22 and 18. They're right on the cusp, right? They're going to remember the world before this happened, and they're going to remember the world after this happened. As
Right.
they get old, right? I hope, God willing, they'll get old. As they get old, they're going to say, I remember when this happened. We're living in history right now. And again, I will not take away from people for whom this has been a terrible tragedy. But
Yeah.
the stories and the experiences that people are having right now, you are an engineer of their memory of this time.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think
Look
it's
at
going
it
to be,
that way.
I think we're going to remember just what we did at home, but then think about it, what if you go and spend this time that you have, that you were away, or that you're now going away and doing something, and they made it really memorable. I think it's going to be a guest for life, or for a long time, or at least they're going to tell people, even if they're not going to come back to you, they're going to hopefully go tell people through social media, through reviews, through something where it makes a difference for, it makes them feel good because they just told a friend
Sure.
about a great experience, but then it also makes a hotel feel magical and feels special, right?
And what you're talking about is making everyone feel like a five-star, five-diamond guest. It's luxury. People have all different definitions for luxury. I've heard luxury is time, although to me, really wealthy people have no time. So I guess that is why they consider it luxury. But luxury is actually feeling special and unique. So you put fairy lights and Christmas lights outside in a pretty corner of your property and set that up. And suddenly, this terrible quarantine feels a little more livable. And you arrange to have a beautiful room service experience. Or for somebody that has to travel for work, you tell them, if you order breakfast from the diner tomorrow morning, we'll make sure it's ready and waiting for you as you leave. That's such a small little gesture. It takes some practice and it takes some training, but that will make the guest loyal forever.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
again, lock eyes with them, look them right in the eye, and say, "We're so glad that you've come back. Travel's coming back, and we are just so happy you chose us." And it works. And you will get people to come
So
back again and again.
yeah, and so words still matter. I think words are still going to matter, even with your masks on. I think the connections that you make and how you understand people and kind of understand their journey, because everyone's been through something. Everybody has a story right now, right?
Yeah,
Everybody has a story. Like, no matter where you are, if you've worked through this entire thing, you worked 7 days a week through this entire thing, or you're home, I think
yeah.
everyone has a story. And I think understanding where they've been and listening to the story, I think, is going to be important, especially if you're running 20% occupancy. This is a great time for us to connect and make bonds with these guests that could be potential for a lifetime loyalty, or maybe their friends and family come to stay with you and they get that same treatment. I think that's valuable, and I think that's what's maybe going to be popular right now.
Consistency is key, right? So make sure that your employees get the message to treat all your guests with respect and care and concern. And remind them that guests are not at their best right now. A lot of guests are feeling stress. Some of the guests are visiting sick loved ones. Some of the guests have been through, as you say, a terrible story. And so if you just give, you and I have been at this a long time, right? But if you give younger and newer employees the tools to handle a guest that maybe is going through a bad time and is not in a good mood, that they don't take it personally, you're going to create something really special. And I love what you said. When you're running at 20% occupancy, or when the hotel is closed altogether, I coach individual people, right? And I'm getting calls of people saying, I'm reevaluating my whole life. And again, if you're ill, then that's different. But if you've been well in this quarantine, now's the time to look and see what you like and what you don't, and renovate you, right? Renovate everything that you do. So the coaching calls that I get now are a lot of people looking to make big changes. And they're talking to me about what was working and what's not working anymore. And this is an excellent time to consider what you want your future to be too, right? Not just the hospitality industry.
Right. And Kate, this has been like an amazing conversation. Guys, comment if you've enjoyed this conversation. I've written down a bunch of notes here. And guys, we're still going to give away free 1 hour coaching sessions with Kate. And Kate, one last question before we get off. And I know
Sure.
we could probably talk for hours and hours about how to make people feel hospitable and how to make our guests and our staff and our entire team feel really good about coming back. And I'm hearing that some people don't want to come back. And guys, are you hearing the same? Like some people are like, I'm not going to come back to the hotel business. Here's the thing. Excuse me. We shouldn't feel bad about that. Like maybe they understood, like we were just talking about, maybe they understood like this is not for them. So,
Right.
as owners and operators and managers, we take it personally, like, oh, they think they're better than us. And I don't think we think that way. Think that, hey, they might have had this shift in thinking or the way they have thought about their life and maybe figured out that this wasn't for them, right? Or the other way around, like, hey, I'm ready to come back. And then we share ideas on how they can continue learning and give them some insights. There was a bunch of free educational pieces that were off courses and all these different things that were available to a lot of people this last 3 months, right? Maybe share those things while they're still ramping up their career or they're continuing, and then maybe understanding their goals. I think
I
goal is going to be a
agree.
huge thing.
Yes, I did a 3-part video series. It's on YouTube of what are you doing during the pandemic with your time. It's about budgeting. What do you need to live off of to have a comfortable living? What do you really want to do, and how are you enriching your life? And it's a 3-part, pretty short series that's available on my website as well. And
Let's pull it up. Let's pull it up.
Oh, you pull it up. Profitabletotrain.com, and it allows people who are at home who are furloughed right now to reevaluate a little bit, gives them some ideas of what to think about. But myself personally, I can tell you, I have been taking 1 or 2 webinars a day. I actually took a certification from eCornell I'd been wanting to do, but never had the time. I suddenly have the time. I redesigned my website. And if everybody takes stock in what they do, there are some people who won't want to come back to the hospitality industry too, right? Because they have a pre-existing condition that they're much more afraid to get sick than some people are, or they've seen someone get sick and it's scary to them. And you're right, we don't take it personally. Right now, there are less jobs than there's ever been in the last 10 years, 20 years. And so, again, that's getting very competitive. You have to have a real passion for this business, don't you? This is a tough business, and you have to really love it. It is 24/7, break your back hard, and it is not for everybody, and it's okay. It's absolutely okay. But the best will come out of this.
Yeah, and I think the strongest will survive. I think that the people that have the best mindset will prevail in this. Where we just have to continue growing and growing. That's what I always put it as, like continue growing, like every single day. Same thing with you. I'm learning different things, way different things, like things that I never thought I'd be learning, as far as just like
Zoom.
different parts of
My God. I've learned Zoom now. I'm really good at that. Yeah, I have a new software to learn every single day, and part of me is like, oh my gosh, I'm too old for this. But it's an exciting time, right? It's an exciting time if you choose to make it so.
All right, well, let's go ahead. Kate, are you ready to give away a 5 1-hour coaching sessions? And and I want to thank you. This is like amazing. Like you can share all these different ideas with us and understand how we can connect with our guests and how we can connect with caring and then cleanliness. We talked about all those things, and we talked about how we can provide exceptional service even when you aren't smiling with your beautiful smile, right? And I love that. The gestures, like I think I'm gonna try to learn that. Because I can't. I'm gonna practice that a lot. Guys, let us know if this conversation has been great for you and if you learned at least one thing, because that's like the goal for everybody, at least one thing a day. All right, so I'm gonna give away one $50 gift card to smartguests.com, and that person I wrote down. So I've been watching the notes, and guys, thank you so much for all the wonderful comments. We've had over 100 and maybe 70 or 80 or 100 something comments in here. So guys, keep commenting, let us know, and if you've really enjoyed this. And the winner for this $50 $50 Smart Guest gift card is Raheem Kapadia. Congratulations, Raheem. And then we're going to give away 5 now. 4, because Raheem gets one too. Get your 1-hour coaching sessions. Before we get into that, Kate, tell us about how people can connect with you, profitable to train as far as, and then what other social media sites are you on?
Absolutely. So I am on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Everybody is welcome to join in. If you would like some other ideas and some maybe longer versions of some of the ideas we talked about today, I have a newsletter. Please do go on profitabletotrain.com. If you Google my name, Kate Buhler, you can find it pretty easily. Sign up for my newsletter. It comes out bi-monthly. I don't want to inundate you with paper, or with emails, but that goes into more details of what's happening as it goes on. And anybody who wants to reach out and talk to me can do so through those channels, also through my website. I'm happy to take comments. And really, this has been a delight, Rupesh. It's been so great talking to you, as always. You're a leader in this industry, and I look forward to meeting new people, especially these 5 new people.
Well, let's just pick them out right now. All right, so I wrote down Raheem. You're one of the winners. Parker Jerrigan, congratulations, Parker. Daphne Spencer, congratulations, Daphne. Peggy Godfrey, congratulations to you. You won a 1-hour coaching session with Kate Buhler. And then lastly, Chris, I'm gonna get his name wrong. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Sure,
Christopher Sikora, congratulations, Christopher Sikora. You won a 1-hour coaching session valued at $400. Guys, thank you so much. And Kate, I really appreciate this. I love your last name, Buhler. I've watched that movie like 50,000 times, and it's a movie that I haven't showed my kids yet because I think they're a little too young. But it's on my list of movies, 80s movies to show my kids, because I think it's a fun movie that you can get away with things and then you can't, and sometimes you have and sometimes you just have fun, which that's probably one of my goals as far as continue having fun in our lives. And Kate Buhler, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Rupesh. I appreciate it. Take care. Be well.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye. All right, guys, what did you think about this conversation? It was awesome. I wrote down so many ideas on how to provide exceptional service as we continue growing and as we continue opening up. And guys, thank you so much to all the wonderful winners. Please contact me directly and I will connect you with Kate, and hope you enjoy her 1-hour coaching session, which is probably going to be awesome as far as uncovering different ways to improve your career and then also your hotel. So guys, thank you so much. Next week, I have somebody awesome on. I'm not going to share who it is just yet. You'll see this promo either Friday or Monday. And guys, we do this every week. So let me just pull up this real quick. All right, so if you want to watch the replay of this and any of the past shows, it is youtube.com/Rupesh Live. There's more than 30 or 35 different episodes there that you can pull up and replay anytime and share with your network. Guys, hit the subscribe button and like button there. And guys, this episode is brought to you by smartguests.com, creative hospitality tools for hotel operations, marketing, customer service, and getting more guest feedback. Hit up smartguests.com with an S at the end, and we're going to provide creative hospitality tools with you guys. This has been a pleasure speaking with you. Hope you learned something, and I will connect with you next Wednesday where I bring on somebody awesome. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy the okay weather that's out there. I'm going to be going to watch the shuttle launch. Hopefully it happens. Fingers crossed today, and I'll talk to you soon.